West's rejection of Iran's participation in the international conference as wrong. The Syrian Arab army eliminates a large number of terrorists who had tried to attack al-Qneitra crosspoint. Anti-government protests in Turkey escalate. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has called on the world community to decide once and for all their stand towards Syria, whether on the side of those who want to change the regime by force or those who want to solve the crisis through dialogue. In a press conference following the Baltic States Council meeting in the Russian province of Kaliningrad, Lavrov stressed that Washington believes that the decision should be made by the Syrians themselves. He said Russia insisted on Iran's participation in the international conference to be held in Geneva on Syria, pointing out that the West's rejection of Iran's participation in the conference was wrong. He said he waited for the results of Ankara's investigation concerning the sarin gas in the possession of armed men captured by the Turkish authorities. The Russian Foreign Ministry has stressed that the tripartite meeting held yesterday by representatives of Russia, the USA and the UN in Geneva is an advanced step in the course of preparations for the convention of an international conference on the crisis in Syria. The meeting, the Russian Foreign Ministry added, focused on the need of adequate representation at the conference of all Syrian opposition blocs, not only those supported by foreign sides, but also those backed by the Syrian interior. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the Russian side stressed the importance of the participation of neighboring countries in the conference and other influential states such as Iran, who may offer considerable contribution to solve the crisis in Syria and overcome its subsequent repercussions in the future. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Alexander Lukashevich said that the armed groups that were taking positions in al-Qseir used the area to smuggle weapons and mercenaries to the area and to carry out cleansing operations on sectarian bases. Welcome back. Our armed forces continued to chase armed terrorist groups in Damascus countryside, inflicting heavy losses upon them. Our armed forces destroyed a gathering for terrorists in al-Qseir town, killing and wounding dozens of them, mostly non-Syrians. Among the terrorists killed were Ziad al-Buqai and Muhammad Ruhm, in addition to a Tunisian terrorist nicknamed Abi Hafs. Meanwhile, in the city of Saqba, our armed forces chased an armed terrorist group which was committing acts of looting and murder in the town, killing and wounding most of its members. The army also killed 5 terrorists while they were planting an explosive charge. Among those killed was terrorist Abdel Karim al-Khatib. In the town of Adra, our armed forces targeted a den for terrorists, killing and wounding scores of them. In Al-Nabak city, our armed forces eliminated a terrorist gang and confiscated its weapons and ammunitions. In the city of al-Qneitra, armed forces targeted a terrorist group which repeatedly tried to block passage of cars across al-Qneitra crossing used to transfer al-Golan apples, killing and wounding dozens of them. A military source pointed out that terrorists in al-Qahtaniya village adjacent to occupied Golan are burying the corpses of their killed terrorists to hide their non-Syrian identities. In Dar'a countryside, army units targeted gunmen in the towns of Al-Haraq and Al-Mleha, killing a big number of terrorists, including Nizar Al-Haraki, a leader of a terrorist gang. In Homs countryside, our armed forces restored stability to Al-Khalidiyya village after they eliminated large numbers of terrorists who were vandalizing public properties and destroying electricity power stations. Following marking the crucial and strategic victory realized by the Syrian Arab Army in taking under its full control al-Qseir and establishing security across the city, the news camera was there to document the devastation caused by the armed terrorist groups. During combing operations in houses in the northern neighborhood of al-Qseir, the army found large quantities of ammunition, a radar missile test device and a box containing a large number of explosive devices ready to be remotely detonated. The army also found a missile on which was written "Pictorial Gun," a number of explosive devices and other rockets. The army continues its operations to restore security to Damascus-Homs highway, advancing in Harasta, al-Basatin and the areas surrounding the highway. Al-Iman Mosque and the region surrounding it used to swarm with armed men, from which they infiltrated in the direction of the highway to snipe people and cars. Now the area has been fully cleared of all those armed men by the Syrian Arab Army. For the sake of putting an end to bloodshed in Syria, some Tunisian families paid a visit to their sons who were recruited as jihadists in Syria. The families blamed some Arab channels and Takfiri sheikhs for motivating their sons to go to Syria for what they call jihad. The Tunisian parents stressed that their sons were victimized by media fabrication and suspicious fatwas. The Tunisian delegation, during a press conference, called on the Syrian government to issue a pardon on their sons because they have been subjected to a systematic process of brainwashing. Over to Lebanon, when an armed terrorist group driving a car attacked a Lebanese military checkpoint in Wadi Hamid in Arsal area and opened fire on its soldiers. The Lebanese Army Command issued a statement in which it stressed that the Lebanese soldiers clashed with the gunmen and killed 2 of them. 1 was Syrian. The rest of the group fled the scene. The army statement added that at dawn today the army clashed with the terrorist group and confiscated a car which was carrying weapons and ammunition. Meanwhile, Tripoli city maintained a fragile calm in different areas as the Lebanese army patrols broke into several buildings in al-Barraniya neighborhood, confiscating arms and explosive devices. A Turkish policeman died yesterday of injuries he had sustained when a bridge under construction collapsed while he was pursuing demonstrators in Adana, south of Turkey. This was reported by the Turkish private NTV satellite channel. Meanwhile, Turkish syndical institutions joined thousands of demonstrators in Taksim Square, the center of protests that have ripped through the country. The public sector workers' unions and the revolutionary workers' unions federations have called for demonstrations and strikes in Turkey's major cities for 2 days in support of the anti-Erdogan policy protests and in denunciation of the intimidation practiced against the peaceful Turkish demonstrators. Now to latest business and market news, but after a short break.